Here for Second Opinion Games, and today we're going to talk about the Game Boy Advance a little bit, and some, I don't like to have that light straight back there, and some original Xbox games. I have a big stack of original Xbox games here, and I have Game Boy Advance, and the ways that I like to play Game Boy Advance games, and we're going to talk just about that. Let me try and pull up the chat, see if it's fully operational or not. I do not know. And we'll try to get into there. Well, eventually, people will start joining in and talking to me. But for now, let's just talk about kind of the best way to play the Game Boy DS. Well, I guess it's not called the Game Boy yet. It's just the DS. And for that, of course, that just means play it on a 3DS. There's no better way to play the DS than on the 3DS. So just own one of these. And yeah, you could buy those R4 cards now that allows you to never have to worry about buying another DS game and play them like that. Or you could, you could hack your DS. This one just has an ungodly amount of like stuff all over it, and it just goes on forever because it holds a lot of games. And I played a lot of games. I really loved my Game Boy or my 3DS, of course, and I love to play Game Boy games. So if you're gonna play original Game Boy games, it's probably not best on a Game Boy. It might be better to play on the Super Nintendo. So some of them had their own borders, everyone knows that. And the Super Nintendo was great to play Game Boy games. Like over half my library of Game Boy games, I played more on the Super Nintendo than actually in the Game Boy, which is quite amazing. Let's see if I can finally pull up my own live stream so I can see my own stuff. I can't see it all, which is terrible. Okay, I am in. I have no idea how the audio is. But we'll see. Okay. So assuming the audio is good and everything is going well, I could see my live stream now. And if you want to send me a message, I could see if I could see it. Don't know here yet. Maybe just no one's talking. Okay, but we'll come back to that later. Hopefully I can catch up with them if anyone is actually chatting with me. So then we have, that didn't work at all. Okay, technical problems. There we go, I'm live. And going, okay. Hey, audio is fine, thank you very much. Okay, so all that's out of the way. We're now kicking butt and taking names. I love this. Okay, so back to the main topic is the Game Boy Advance, which means also I like playing the original Game Boy Advance, but not playing on the Game Boy Advance. Playing using this controller on the Game Boy Advance player on the bottom of the GameCube. So by doing this, you get the feel of the Game Boy Advance and also being able to play on your television. However, if you're going to play out in public, I strongly recommend playing the Game Boy Micro. I have a couple of these, and they're a great deal of fun. Now, sometimes the Game Boy Advance games don't really fit in as well as they should, so it looks like a big awkward thing. However, this particular game, Wario Twisted, is extra rough when you're playing in the GameCube, to capture it. I actually did a full video of Wario Twisted in which I beat the entire game by using my big toe to hit the A button and waving this thing back and forth like this by the handle. So, of course, this thing was designed for the Game Boy Advance player in order just to play Wario Twisted. That's why the handle's there. There's no other reason for that. That's the best I could come up with. Okay, so if I didn't think that the Game Boy was a good place to play original Game Boy games, the other place I would actually play them is my Game Boy Model 101 version. Now, this is the Game Boy Advance 101, and what makes it special is the extra bright screen. So you can toggle it on, make it even brighter. This doesn't even have a cartridge in it, but it's definitely the best place to play the older Game Boy games. Like here is a game that it looks like Tri-Rush Deppy. I think it would be in the same series as it. Stupid. Okay, so it's some type of weird. Where's the camera? Weird thing, and it's a car game. I put it in my like top 10 hidden gems for the original Game Boy. I really like that. I played a crap ton of Wario Land and Wario Land 2, two of my favorite games. There's also the color versions of them, and you know what? I never even played Donkey Kong Country 3 on the Super Nintendo. It's a shame. But I did play a crap ton of it on the Game Boy Advance. Because at the time, you know, I was a bit more mobile. So I just wanted to play mobile. Okay, so with that out of the way for the Game Boy portion, let's talk about original Xbox games. Now, how many original Xbox games do I have? Well, I have two bins, equal in size. This is one of them. And let's see if I can lift this bad boy up. Okay, so this is completely full of original Xbox games. And I got two of these. It's quite heavy when you throw them in a bin. And then I have like 20 selected games that I kept off to the side in the game room. Some of them are repeats, like I have multiple copies of Halo and Halo 2 because sometimes you just need to have a lot of copies of Halo 2 if you're going to have LAN parties and stuff like that. So in the game room, there's always a copy of Halo 2 and Halo 1 and probably even Halo 3, maybe Reach. I'm not even sure. So the game room's not fully set up right now. I don't have like a lot of shelves. And I don't know if I will get a lot of shelves because I'm just storing everything in bins now. And then I just break out a bin and I dig through it and then I put it back when it's done. And it gets kind of random. Okay, so anyway, let's take a look at some of these games. Some of them I haven't played a lot. Some of them I played the crap out of. But there is way too many games. For example, the Legacy of Kain series. Here's Defiance, which I thought was weird because not all of the games in the series actually ended up on the original Xbox. Of course, the original Legacy of Kain didn't. The sequel Soul Reaver didn't. That was a Dreamcast and PlayStation 1 game. But then some of the other ones where they like sort of teamed up, you think that they would have done something to clear that gap instead of just, oh, here's a game we haven't done yet, just shovel it out there. Why not have the earlier ones? Why not do something with that? It kind of agitates me. For example, Blood Omens in the same series. So I know this is the second one, and I understand why this one came out, but give us Soul Reaver remade for the original Xbox. It would have been awesome. I absolutely loved it for the Dreamcast. I even bought the manual. Here's one. I'm not even sure it's mine. I'm pretty sure it's my friend Tom's. And it's this horror game. This was kind of frustrating to me. It was some type of Resident Evil style knockoff game. If you guys have played it, well, my God, it's kind of rough to play. I did manage to get fairly far into the game, but you know, I think it's kind of rough. Oh, Death Row. Who remembers that? Anyone? Because it's a sports game. I got a lot of heat because I didn't actually play the game very long before I put it on one of my hidden gems lists. It was decent. It just wasn't good enough to keep my interest. It reminded me of Speedball from the arcade, where you had guys running back and forth. Which, by the way, in the future, what I will be doing is, once I get all the technical stuff out of the way, I'll be playing some of these games and talking about it while I'm playing. Probably a lot of Atari Jaguar games I'll be playing through, because I played a lot of Jaguar and could tell you some interesting things about them while I'm playing. Also, maybe some Super Nintendo games, handful of arcade games I might like, things like that. So it's good to stick around and stay in touch, because, hey, you know what? Games are really fun to play. Just like Bloodwake, now, not really a hidden gem to anyone who's lived through the life cycle of the original Xbox, but to people that came in, say, at the 360 time and didn't really know about well, it's not really a series, it's just a game. It's a boat type of combat game. Sort of like Crimson Skies, only on a boat. Really a lot of fun. Great game. Okay. Let's see what else we got in this bin as we're going. A couple of copies of Halo 2. Like I said, they're everywhere, all over this house. This game I got apparently for $3, and that is Playboy the Mansion the game. I have never played it. I heard that even though it has the title Playboy Mansion the game, it's very sanitized. Not a whole lot going on here as far as Playboy is concerned. Crimson Sea, I do remember playing it. I don't remember anything about it. The Xbox really liked the word Crimson. Reckless, the Yakuza missions, pretty cool. Nice little fun little racing game. Not much to say about it. Phantom Dust was huge on the online community. So if you played a lot of online original Xbox, you probably played this. It is very much running around, picking up orbs to perform magical spells and try to take down your enemies type of game. It's not really executed in the best possible way, though. So I would say it doesn't hold up as well as it did at the time. I think it was more or less because it was a game that you could have played online with your friends. That's why it became so popular. And some people just weren't that good at Halo 2, so they wanted to jump into other things. And you know what? Halo 2, people got insanely good at that game. So it really became unfun really fast unless you were playing with your friends. So that being said. Another group, Halo, I have them everywhere. Metal Arms, a glitch in the system. A lot of people swear by this on the GameCube because, you know what, it's just more fun to collect for the GameCube. It was a lot better on the original Xbox, though. The controls fit it perfectly. It was decent on the PlayStation 2. It feels like the frame rate wasn't as good. Oh, the first level in Halo 2? Really? Okay, so what's it was more or less you had to kill a whole bunch of people until it opened up other sections. So after the first level wasn't that exciting. It wasn't a good representation of what Halo 2 was. And later I think there was, oh no, that was Halo 3. There was a level late in the game, like the third to the last level. It just totally sucked. It was a terribly designed level. You're all like on the alien base or something. It was garbage level, and it almost ruined the entire game. At least for replays to go back through. Glitch in the System, though, terrific game for one of the best third-person shooters of its time, and I strongly recommend everyone play. I never played this one online. I don't think it was. No, it was not online. I would like to see them make a sequel to this and put some type of online element. I would love to play it. Blood Rain. It's a game where a vampire sucks and makes a crap ton of sucking noises. My God, is there ever a lot of sucking noises? Now, one of the games I actually appreciate now is WayForward made a version of Blood Rain, a 2D version, and you can play it on the Switch, you can play it on the Xbox, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, all that fun stuff. And it's a pretty fun game, of course, made by WayForward. They really know how to make good 2D games. Strongly recommend. Lord of the Rings! Never played it. I think this was based off the books, not the movie. Or no, it's the official game of the one. There is some. I have another one that's based off of like the books and not the movie. But apparently, so I bet you 3/4 of this is probably them sitting around talking about what they had for breakfast that day. I don't know. I felt like the movies were a little boring. Okay, Futurama. Love the game. In the first like 5 minutes of the game, Fry just dies because he like grabbed the toaster or something, and a whole bunch of crap falls on him and he's dead. So it gives you a reason to keep playing because the professor has some type of cloning thing. Greetings from Germany. Thank you, WW. Yeah, was the Jaguar that big in Germany? Did they even like push out any copies in Europe? That's freaking crazy. Well, maybe they didn't get the message that the Jaguar was kind of weird. I almost made today's live stream about the Jaguar. Next time I do a live stream, I just got a new camera, a new setup, so now I can do this a little bit better. But the next live stream I do, I'll break out my box of Atari Jaguar games and talk about them. And then hopefully the setup will be happening where then I can show you guys some gameplay of some games and also show you the struggle of playing the Atari Jaguar, because sometimes you clean the game and you put it in and hit the button and nothing happens. And I'll be showing you some of my favorite games. Yeah, the Jaguar stream would be, it will be awesome. I'll try and do my best to make it epic. I'm definitely not playing through all of Battle Morph though. My God, guys, it's a brutally difficult game, and it takes a lot of energy and focus. Trying to talk my way through it, I don't even think I could even pull that off at all. Even clearing the first boss of the game is probably like I could probably talk my way through all the first levels in the first worlds, or the first group of worlds, but then when you come to that first boss, I don't think I could do it and talk at the same time. Malice, this we're yeah. Okay. So what they're saying there in the chat is yeah, it went over in Europe about as big as it did in the United States. You know what? It didn't go over that bad in the United States. They did have that massive advertisement push that really got a lot of people hyped up for the Atari Jaguar. I think a lot more people liked that system more than they liked the 32X, for example, or even the Sega CD. A lot of people, right after buying the Sega CD, they were burnt up, and I don't think that they appreciated it very much at all. I personally love the Sega CD. I have the JVC-Xi, which plays European Genesis games also, just totally fine. So it's like the holy grail of the Sega CD. It plays the fastest load times. It does everything the best. And the JVC-Xi is clearly the best way to play Sega CD games. Malice, also a great game. Have a hammer, smash up lots of things. Hunter of the Reckoning. Strongly recommend, sort of like a gauntlet style, taking out things. Is it worth money to buy a Sega CD? Okay, that's a good question. No, it isn't. In this day and age, quite frankly, retro gaming collecting has gotten ridiculous. It is ridiculous on all levels. The games are way too expensive. If I had to say to do anything, buy a PlayStation 1 Classic Mini. Okay? Buy one of those. Then go to retropunks.com. There's a pack that you could download that is really easy to download, fits on a little SD or a memory card or a thumbstick. And then you just drag it right over. It gives you instructions, and then you could have every single Sega CD game at your disposal. Because there's like 5 or 6 Sega CD games I did not have. And also sometimes one will have like a tiny scratch on it, or maybe just by sitting on the shelf, it just freaking goes bad. And then what am I doing with it? I'm not doing anything with it. So it's not worth the money. It plays just as good on emulation. And if you want to play it on like a PlayStation 1 controller, that PlayStation 1 Classic with the instructions from arcadepunks.com is probably your best way to play it. I actually enjoy recording off of that more than anything for stuff like that. Now, there's a couple games I really kind of prefer having in my collection, like Popful Mail. I'd rather be playing on my JVC XI, but that's a really expensive game. And people can't afford the $600-700 to buy that game, and I completely understand. So you're definitely better off doing it another way. So even though I'll play Popful Mail on my JVC XI, I don't recommend anyone else really do it. Nightmare Before Christmas, fun game, very good game, except for there's rhythm-based sections, and the last boss of the game is rhythm-based. I played and reviewed this entire game. It was great. It was sort of like Castlevania because you have that whip thing. But it's awful because I have no rhythm. I can't beat the game. All the other bosses you could soldier through, and you don't have to worry about it. But this one, my freaking god, pisses me off. Shenmue 2, great game, one of my favorites on the system, and it has the Shenmue 1 movie, which is just someone doing a speed run of the first game from the Dreamcast. That's all it is. But it catches you up pretty fast. Blinks the Time Sweeper, never even played it for more than maybe 5 minutes. It was good, it just wasn't for me. Here's one, bit of a hidden gem. Xyanide. First of all, if you didn't know how to, or Xyanide, if you didn't know how to pronounce this game, well, reading it isn't going to help you. It's a 3D, 2D shooter shmup. Pretty cool. Well, the Japanese Shenmue 2, you can actually find for Shenmue 2 an English translation out there, and someone could rip it to a disc for you and put it out there. I'm just as comfortable playing it on the Xbox 360 though, or the Xbox original Xbox, as I am on the Dreamcast. So I think I'd rather play it on that system a little bit more. So you know, it's a lot of work when you can just find it real cheap and easy that way. Oh. Yeah. Oh, there was no on the Japanese version. I thought you could toggle on English subtitles, because I think the European version is almost exactly the same as the Japanese version, only they toggled on the English subtitles. I thought that was a thing. So maybe check out settings. I think there might be out there. Magic Battlegrounds. This is a really nice game. It's not Magic the Card game. Card battle system. This is more something else, and this is like alpha beta creatures and cards being played. So this is like old school, really kind of like this. Chess game. No, it's not a chess game. It's a first-person shooter and a system full of first-person shooters. You can find this for almost nothing. It's an exclusive to the original Xbox. Kind of a lot of fun. Chicago Enforcer. Not fun. Xbox exclusive. And total garbage. Total garbage. I tried to make it fun. I couldn't do it. Cold Fear. It's Resident Evil on a boat, which Resident Evil has done on a boat multiple times. And this is made by Ubisoft, though. And they did a great job with it. It's a fun game. Jedi Knights Academy. If you played it on the PC, keep playing on the PC. It's almost the same game. Slight differences from the computer port. It is a computer port, and it's kind of fun. Okay, so we got a lot of those. Do you want me to keep going with this? I have a crap ton here in this bin of original Xbox games. Okay, wait. There is one I definitely want to talk about. It's on the top here. Headhunter Redemption. Now, what's really cool about this is that the first Headhunter game... Thank you, Jim Morrison's bathtub. What's really cool about this is the fact that the first game came out on the Dreamcast. Only in Europe, though, so there's a little bit of a problem with that. So if you could rip a game and play it on your Dreamcast, definitely do so, because it is one of the best Dreamcast games. And it's sort of like Grand Theft Auto, on the Dreamcast, which is incredible, like Grand Theft Auto 3 style, not the top-down style. So when I found out the sequel was coming to the original Xbox, it also came out in the PlayStation 2. It does play better on the original Xbox, as most games do that came out on both systems. This is a lot of fun. It's really cool. I haven't talked about it, I think at all yet, but I definitely will. Another idea I thought of having for the channel is taking like one word, like the word head, and then finding every game that I could find with the word head in its name, and then doing a whole video on that. Or video on, just figure out a random word like life. Every game with the word life. Boom. I just start popping them in. It sounds ridiculous, which is right up my channel's alley. I don't try to do anything normal. I try to find stuff that most people don't know about, and I have the games to do it. So I've been, pulling it off for some time now. I think it's rocking. Stolen, super sneaky, stealthy missions. Probably not that fun. Okay. Starsky and Hutch. One of the few light gun games for this system. Yes, it's a light gun game. It's also a driving game. That means 2 players at the same time. I see. A lot of people have Stolen, but never played it, unless you mean you've stolen, and then never played it. Could be. So Starsky and Hutch. Not really based on that movie that came out around the same time. I think they got the license because they knew a movie was coming out, and then threw together a game. Just based off of the series in general, which is most likely what happened. Oh, you could also hook up a steering wheel and play this game, so that's cool. Red Ninja, also that game with the hot ninja chick that you could look up her dress. That's pretty much what most people did in this game. There we go. Oh my goodness, so many games. Crimson Skies, great game, everyone knows, loves it. Land of the Dead, Road to Fiddler's Green. I really like this game. For some reason, it gets a lot of flack on the internet. I think it's quite good. It's a zombie game. The levels are a little original Xbox. There's not, they can be sparse. There's, low res. There's not a lot going on. But once you get into it, you start clearing levels, and it's quite a bit of fun. The aiming is off, but keep in mind, you're playing people that don't shoot guns for a living and don't shoot guns often, I presume. So maybe their aiming is total crap. I don't know. They're not doing these things where you run through and, doing running, diving, shooting things, which... For that video I just made with the Xbox versus the 32X, I was going to film me shooting one of my 32Xs because I sold a bunch, but apparently I'm down to 2. So I have the one, and I thought, wouldn't it be nice if I shoot it with like a Sega 12 like shotgun and blow it apart and film it on camera? I thought it'd be really cool. I almost did it for that video. Sorry I didn't do it. One day. And maybe if I have a whole lot of junk consoles, I'll do a whole thing where I shoot them and blow them apart just for fun. I think that'd be great. James Bond. GameCube Galaxy did a great breakdown of all the James Bond games on his channel. So if you haven't checked out GameCube Galaxy, check it out. Tell him that Second Opinion Games sent you over. And it's a lot of fun. He broke down all the James Bond games and gives a really good opinion on that. Prince of Persia, there's a couple of these. I have all of these, and I have like all the Prince of Persia games, like the Sega CD ones and NES and Super Nintendo. Like there's so many Prince of Persia games. I have a crap ton of them, like a stack. One time I stacked them and they were freaking huge. Tons of Prince of Persia games, and I don't like Prince of Persia at all. I don't know why I keep buying them. I just have them. I'm apparently sick. Red Dead Revolver, really cool shooter, and strongly recommend. It's not Red Dead normally, but it's good. Here's a cool game by Sega, Otage. I think I also have this. Oh yeah, there's 2 games made by Sega. A lot of hack and slash. You know those games where you just hit the button again and again and again, and you just kill a horde of enemies? Yeah, it's like that. It's like that. But it's made by Sega, and they do quality work, so kind of like playing that. Okay, This is what some... Yeah, I know. Like, you hear it's a good game for the Prince of Persia games. You hear it's a great game, and you start playing it, and my God, it's... I mean, it can be fun, but I don't know. I just never got into Prince of Persia, and I just keep on buying them. Knights of the Old Republic, most people consider this to be the very best game for the system. One of the coolest things about this, when Xbox Live was going offline, like it was going to go offline the very next day, LucasArts just made all of the DLC for this game completely free. So the very last day, they made it all free. I downloaded it all for free, and I was like, yeah, okay. And then never got around to playing the DLC because I had a lot of other stuff going on. And now I don't know which Xbox that's downloaded onto, which is ridiculous in itself. That I would have so many Xboxes. There's like 8 of them. I am not even kidding. I think I have 8 original Xboxes, and I have to have its own freaking bin of them. So, okay. Cold War, never even played it. As you can see, I bought it for $5. One day I'm going to get around to it, hopefully soon. Oh yeah, there was an extra character or two. There was a couple of extra missions. It's probably kind of like how Phantasy Star had downloadable content on the Dreamcast, where it was just like kind of already there, maybe. I don't know. Cold War is a good game? Well, I'll have to give it a try. But yeah, there was quite a bit of extra content for that. Another video I thought about doing is on like the Doom, just like different versions of Doom, playing them again and again, comparing them to each other. I feel like mainstream YouTubers do that, and I'm not really like that. I don't want to be like that either, which is crazy. Which is another thing. I never done any advertisement on my stuff. Never gotten a single super chat. Never asked for a super chat. I don't want them. I'm completely comfortable with what I have and who I am. So, what's up with this? What is with the sheep? Okay, so who knows who Jeff Minter is? Of course, the guy that made Tempest 2000 on the Atari Jaguar, stuff like that. Well, in Defender 2000. Saturn Doom, I thought it was okay. You know what? I would say it's about as good as Jaguar Doom. It plays fine. It's serviceable. It's a good version of Doom. I'm not a video game snob either, and I don't mind small little imperfections with the game. And Saturn Doom I thought was fine. I just thought it was a fine game. Just like Saturn Duke Nukem 3D. Fine game. Much rather play it on the Saturn than on the Nintendo 64. I felt like that wasn't as good. My brother really liked Doom on the Nintendo 64. I think it was Doom 2. Oh, no, it's Doom 64, yeah. And Quake 2. And he crushed the crap out of it, but it wasn't something for me. Oh, also with the sheep, Defender 2000, Jeff Minter put his sheep in that game, and when I was doing something with that, somehow the sheep just became part of the channel, and I thought it was hilarious, and I love the sheep. If I would have thought about it a little bit more, I probably wouldn't have gone with the sheep, because it's not good for a brand. Like, what do you call the people that follow my channel? Sheeple? No one wants to be called that. yeah, it's a good theme, but it's not good branding. You know, if you want to start a business out of it. Which I was thinking about making shirts, not really selling them for a profit at all, of course, selling them for break even. I had this really cool design where it's like half normal shirt and half a giant picture of a sheep on one side. I thought it would be freaking awesome. And sheep are so relatable creatures because they're easy to pet, they're easy to love, they're great animals. So people do love sheep. Yeah, but that's because people think sheep when they think like soft, cuddly things and going to sleep, counting sheep jumping over, and maybe even if you're like Jeff Minter, maybe sleep with a sheep in your bed, you know, because he uses sheep as pillows, probably. Maybe more. Who knows? He really likes sheep. Okay, so but it's not good for like a following. Like, and I'm not sure if putting sheep on my covers actually brings in more people to my videos or less. Because if they see that sheep, they're like, that's weird, and they just sort of jump away from the sheep. I like to think that it brings in people, but my channel hasn't really been growing that good. Oh, yeah. I don't know about, see, I don't know what the combination there is. Second Opinion Games, here's a sheep. People are like, what is going on? I don't understand. Like Frame Raider has like the lips from that one music thing. I don't get what's up with his lips, you know, on that. I should ask him next time I talk to him. Shrek Super Slam. God, no. My oldest son plays this game, and he's special because he likes it. I don't understand. Serious Sam 2, great game. Great game. Oh my God. Oh yeah, I'm sorry that it's so late over there in Europe. So these aren't super planned. These are just because I have some spare time. So I really apologize if you're staying up late to watch any of my content. First of all, you can always watch them later or just sort of chill. But it is fun to interact with someone that you know and know that I'm a real person that just likes to sit here and talk to you guys and have fun. So I completely understand that. Blinks to the Time Sweeper. Look at that pig on the cover. That's literally the best part of the entire game. I thought about doing a whole video about pigs too. You have Charlotte's Web on the Game Boy Advance. It's actually a great game. It's made by Sega. It's an action platformer with a freaking pig. 2D action platformer with a pig. Great game. Warhogs on the PlayStation 1. See, I had the list all made out. It's off somewhere. Oh, here's a video idea I want a real answer, guys. I want to make a joke video on games that women, or video game characters that women love. Now, what's joking around about this is my understanding of women being absolutely terrible. So I take traits that women are attracted to, and then I pick the absolute worst video game character to assign those traits to. I already have the list done. I even had my wife help me make the list. It's freaking hilarious. But you know, if yeah, oh yeah, it's completely satire. I think I'm gonna get lambasted so hard, it would be crazy. And just throwing together this list and how I have it like sort of scripted out, like it's a rough script. I feel like the video is gonna go ungodly fast, where it's a top 10, but it only is like 6 or 7 minutes total, and then I just blow my load and I'm done. You know, I just get it out there and cut it down to size. I think it'd be crazy. It is hilarious when people get my videos. Sheep puns? Heck yeah! I gotta look up a whole bunch of sheep puns. Normally I try to do like original jokes, but I feel like sheep puns, they're probably best looking out there. Another Hunter Reckoning game. They're a lot of fun to play. I'm not sure if they got re-released on the Switch. If they did, I want to go back and try and download some and play some, because handheld would be a little bit better. House of the Dead, I had a dog that ate the crap out of this copy. However, the game still works. It has House of the Dead 2 on it. Also one of the very few like-gun games for the original Xbox. And it has a trailer for the House of the Dead movie, which I liked. I liked the movie. I took it for what it was, a crappy B movie, and I enjoyed it. Arc Phalanx. Oh yeah, this original Xbox exclusive game, even though it doesn't say only on the original Xbox, and it's kind of crap. Oh yeah. Yeah, dogs, boy did they like to destroy things. You know what? I have a controller that I think is broken around here. Let me... This damn thing for the Sega Saturn, this cord is so short, I have a horrible time hooking this thing up. Oh my God, see? Horrible time. Horrible time. this bottom cord has to go on, and so it can go on the right side or the left side. Horrible time with it. And it's a control stick, and I want to do a whole video. I'm thinking I'm going to buy another one. Maybe this one's just garbage. I don't know. It didn't work for as many games as I wanted it to work for. So, I don't know. I'm going to have to get another one. I really want it to work, too. Sega Saturn's great to play. Love Sega Saturn. I have a lot more Sega Saturn games to talk about in the future, too. Prisoner of War. If I had a lot of time, this would be a good time sink game. It's stealth. It's literally breaking out of prison. You have to learn the routines of the guards. You have to learn every little nook and cranny of the game. There's time schedules. You have to be in certain places at certain times. It's literally like being in prison and then trying to figure out how to break out of the prison. If you have a ton of time on your hands, this is good. If you want a quick game to jump into, this is bullshit. It just is. Ninja Gaiden Black. Good action hack and slash. Yeah, see, that's part of the stuff on the channel too. Sometimes you don't have enough time to play the games you want to play. So I'm reviewing like 10, I'm talking about like 10 games a week almost. Because of my new job, I have a harder time getting a whole video out every single week. Like I have half of the video done right now for my next video, and I still have to record the second half. So, and if I picked some of these harder games to go through, like Prisoner of War, I'm just never going to push any content out. And there's so many more games I want to talk about and I want to inform everyone about. Like one of the games I was playing today, Karateka on the Xbox 360. I had no idea what I was jumping into. It was scheduled to come out in the Wii U, and I was trying to get a hold of the downloaded version on the Wii U for years. I don't think it ever even came to the system. I heard rumors. I don't know. I can't find it. I didn't know if it came out and was delisted. I don't know. I was just still trying to find it no matter what. I finally got a chance to play it on the Xbox 360. I love the game on the Apple II computer. I kind of like the game on the original Famicom. I hated the game on the Game Boy. I hated it on the Atari 7800. It was garbage on the 7800, guys. It was terrible. And it was bad. But the Xbox 360 version, I was really getting into. It was my jam. So it was a lot of fun. Red Faction 2, great third-person shooter. Call of Duty Big Red 1. Specifically, the Big Red 1 is not the best. There's other versions of Call of Duty that are much better. That's probably one of the worst. Here's a casino game. Gambling, fake money, not interesting to me at all. State of Emergency. Rockstar made this right after Grand Theft Auto 3. A lot of people bought it just because Rockstar's name was on it, and then quickly regretted that purchase. It wasn't Grand Theft Auto. It was okay, but it wasn't Grand Theft Auto. Need for Speed Underground. Never even got around to playing it yet. It says Blockbuster. I don't know what game is in here. Okay. Well, it says NHL 2007, and there's a note that says Casey on it. Is this something? Okay. Some type of note hidden in my game. That's weird. Guess I'll have to come back to that later. Spider-Man, pretty cool. Spider-Man 2. Rainbow Six Lockdown. Phantasy Star Episode 1 and 2. It's not even playable. You can't, if you buy this game now, you can't even play the game. And the reason why you can't play the game is because you need a Xbox Live connection to play, and you need to sign on at least once on that Xbox in order to play it. Therefore, this game is unplayable. You just can't even do it. I wonder if you have a modded Xbox, if you can play the game. I'm going to have to look into that. Because, again, I don't know which system I played it on, and then digging through the systems will be kind of terrible. Grand Theft Project Gotham Racing. I have multiple copies of this because this was also a good System Link game. Event Rising was some type of thing. Oh, yeah. On the Dreamcast, it's great because you can play it. What, see? These is just, I have 2 stacks like this, and the bin's only halfway done. I don't know if we should do all of these games right now. Oh my goodness. Because that's a lot of games. But we'll keep going for now. We have time. Okay, the Xbox magazine discs, I did have a lot of these. I think they're probably with my friend Tom. Some of them actually had really cool secrets hidden in here. So I recommend if you ever find them out in the wild, get a hold of some, check them out. There's some cool stuff there. Conquer, Live and Reloaded. I like playing this on the Xbox more so than on the Nintendo 64. And I know a lot of people will yell at me for that, but the reason is because this was my first copy of Conquer Bad Fur Day. So I was used to playing on this and then going back to Nintendo 64 where I wasn't used to playing. It's like the whole Final Fantasy thing. You ask someone, what's your favorite Final Fantasy game? And they usually say the first Final Fantasy game that they played or the one that they remember the most. Or could actually tell you what the storyline is because sometimes the storylines got freaking crazy. iNinja, good game for the Xbox. This is one of the weird games that I do recommend playing for the GameCube, though, instead. Mech Assault. Pretty cool game. Lots of mechs running around killing stuff. Armed and Dangerous. This is a fun game. It has like shark guns and crazy crap like that. Really recommend it. Serious Sam. Now, halfway through the first game, it completely changes. So this is actually like Serious Sam like 1 and 2, but it's not Serious Sam 2. Yeah, Armed and Dangerous was a great game. There's like, maybe like the first 3 levels are kind of boring and almost feels like it's kind of sloggy. But after that, it starts picking up, especially once you start getting better weapons. Serious Sam, the second half of this game, all of a sudden you start picking up extra weapons and the whole game becomes much more fun. The weirdest story I had about this game is it's somewhere in like maybe level 3, like 1,000 frogs come after you, and I worked 3rd shift at the time, and I was killing frogs with a chainsaw, and I fell asleep, and I woke up in the room, and I was still killing frogs. Like there's a big like boss battle life bar, and the frog, and it shrunk to half, and I was like, oh my god, I gotta stop doing this. It was terrible, almost as terrible as Terminator 3. The movie was decent. This game was crap. Destroy All Humans. People should know that by now. It's kind of fun. Crazy Taxi 3. Good times with Crazy Taxi. And Jade Empire. This is the fancy, super fancy thing. Developer Game of the Year edition. Has multiple discs. Has a thick manual. Is there any difference in this? I don't think so. Just a limited edition. Just looks really nice and pretty with a shiny cover. Okay. Another Prince of Persia game. Sands of Time. This was the first one in the series. Barely played it. Buffy. Got it for the GameCube. Got it for the Xbox. Oh, wait. This is Chaos Bleed. Is this the second one? This is the second one. The other Buffy game was their Xbox exclusive. Better graphics. It took more advantage of the hardware. The sequel, they dumbed it down so they could put it out on the PlayStation 2 and the GameCube. So it wasn't as good. And I think the GameCube version was better than the Xbox version. Maybe because it felt like it was more meant for that system. I don't know. Munch's Odyssey. This game is huge, and I never had time to play it. Never. The graphics were awesome. They were great at the time. And I just could never get around to it. Hulk. Big green killing guy kills everything in sight. Project Gotham Racing. There's a song in here called Bump That that it was like my favorite song on the soundtrack, and I just continuously played that one song every time I played this game. And if I put this game in my system now, it would be the reason to put this game in my system just for Bump That. It was a really cool song. I enjoyed it. Now this was a game that was converted from a Dreamcast game, a Metropolis Street Racer. So I recommend playing the Dreamcast version and then maybe playing this, and then hopefully you could have 2 games to enjoy. Roadkill. I think this game's pretty pricey now. I remember the GameCube version was pricey. And this is one of those car combat games, but it's an open world car combat game. So there's like missions and everything to do. Really, really quite good on both systems. Big Mother Truckers. It's just slapstick comedy, making fun of hillbillies, stuff like that. And as a hillbilly, I'm offended. I'm offended hard, as everyone should be offended nowadays. Bard's Tale, as you can see, I take that very seriously. Everyone's favorite game. Actually, this one is pretty good. The first one in the second one in the series is Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball. I'm not sure who's just listening and who's watching. Dead or Alive. The first one was fairly good. Now, in the 360 version of the game, it's like they had no idea what girls were. And, like, the boobs move out of sync. So they're, like, flopping in, like, separate directions. They're moving all over the place. It was so distracting, I could not even play the game. I understand that's comedy for some people, but, my God, make it look real. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, this was really good. Much better than the second one. Let's see. Celebs Big Game Hunting. The first game was fun. Great game, and then it got remade because it was that good. So, strongly recommend Oddworld Stranger's Wrath. Hitman 2, one of my favorite games, played the crap out of this one. The second to the last level, you're given a sniper rifle, and you have to infiltrate, and then you line up, and you get your shot ready, and you pull the trigger, and it's a blank. They gave you 3 blanks. I didn't even know that like something like that could have been done in a video game before this. Like, because before you shoot your way through the whole game and everything works fine. But then you found out that they were blanks that they gave you to kill this president with, or this evil guy. And then the last level is just a big kill fest. Freaking awesome, though. Awesome. Another Halo 2. PsyOps. One of my favorite games for the system. Mission Impossible. I never even got around to playing it. I assumed it was garbage because they couldn't even afford Tom Cruise. But also I assumed it was garbage because I played... Oh, the Hitman... Oh, yeah. That Hitman 2 starts so damn terrible. That first level in Hitman 2 is a broken garbage level. Where... And I mean like the first mission. So if you could get past that, you'll fly through the whole entire game. Just punish yourself to get through that first mission, and then you'll like it. Just a terrible first mission. I played the Nintendo 64 version, so I never thought I should play that version there. The guy game has boobs. Has boobs. That's what it. That's the whole. That's the game. It's boobs and guessing. You have to guess what other people guess as answers. It's a garbage game, and there's boobs. Sega 202 GT, but it also has Jet Set Radio Future. It's one of those dual copies. They're both together decent games. Oddly enough, this game by itself, without the game connected to it, sells for more money than the other version. Oh boy. Here's a Splinter Cell. Here's another Splinter Cell. Now, I never really got into the Splinter Cell games, but I have them all, apparently. The GameCube version, though, lets you use the Game Boy Advance to connect to the system. You can see the map on the Game Boy Advance while you're playing the game. Really cool. I strongly recommend that. Deus Ex Invisible War. it's a good computer port of this. I think I have all the Splinter Cell games. The one for the Wii U is pretty fun. The one for the Wii, and they added like motion controls and stuff that also came out on the GameCube, but also came out in the PlayStation 3 and 360. Might have been Chaos Theory. My God, like the GameCube, you couldn't invert the controls, which made it unplayable to me. Playing on the Wii with the waggle remote, I couldn't play it. I was having a very bad time with that game. Unlike Gun Valkyrie, I should talk about this one in the future. This was a lot of fun. Made by Sega. Cute girl blasting things with her blasty arm. Good times. Midway Arcade Treasures. I'd rather be playing on the PlayStation 2 just because I have a better arcade stick for the PlayStation 2. And then I can be playing them like I'm playing arcade games. Thief, Deadly Shadows. Lots of good times. Yeah, I hate games that you cannot invert the controls as well. And also, there was this switch right around, I want to say 2001, 2002, where by default, it would leave the controls inverted. And then all of a sudden, by default, it was not inverted. And that got really confusing because if you're playing an older game, you would say normal controls and it's inverted. And then later, you would say normal controls and then it's not inverted. And as a retro gamer, I run into this problem often, and especially when it was right around that time period, and maybe even before in some games, where normal was inverted, or and then the opposite. Like, so you don't even know what the hell you're getting into. You like from the start that you have to start playing for a few minutes before you even know whether or not you want to say it's inverted or not. Okay. Oh, here's a special one. Xbox exclusive, even though it doesn't say on here. Special Forces Nemesis Strike. Inverted all the way. That's right, because we're retro gamers. We're going to play inverted. Yeah. Not giving a choice is crazy. Oh, wait, what? Oh, geez, you were playing Deadly Shadows and then started watching this. Holy crap, that's crazy. Well, I mean, if I'm talking about enough games and you are playing a game, then chances are I could be playing one, but that's wild. Oh, yeah, Nemesis Strike. I think this is in the CT Special Forces series. If you guys know, I really like CT Special Forces for the Game Boy Advance. It was a terrific game, and this is like a 3D version of that. This is another game that breaks you with a tutorial that is ungodly stupid before you even start playing the game, where if you force yourself through the tutorial, you'll like the game, but my God, why did they have to break you with bullcrap mechanics and stupid tutorials? This tutorial is supposed to be like just learning some basic moves, not full on do this super hard thing so then you could do the hard thing later in the game. No, that's for later in the game. They ruin games like that. I don't even know what this game is. I never played it. I don't remember even buying it. It was probably even given to me. From Russia with Love, another video I want to do really bad is top 10 games where you punch a woman in the face, and I feel like Sean Connery is perfect for that. I don't know if you can punch a woman in this video game, but if you can, it's going to go on the lists because Sean Connery famously hits women and says that it's good for him to be put in their place once in a while. Maybe that's true. I don't know. Who am I to judge? I'm not like that. I don't judge people for what they do in their own time. A Nightcaster 2. You know what? I never played this either. Yet Sean Connery is the GOAT. So I recently watched McDarby and the Little People, which was the movie that Ian Fleming's wife went to go see. When she came out of the movie theater, she went right to Ian Fleming's and says, "Hey, I know who your James Bond is. This guy." So, oh yeah, with an open hand. Yeah, you don't do closed fist hits with women. Yeah, open hand all the way. Like backhand, this the slap, but I mean for James Bond to do it, not for me. I would never. I'm gonna get so canceled. See that? Family Guy. This was a decent game. 7 out of 10 game, maybe 6 out of 10. Definitely worth playing all the way through. It's very season 1 Family Guy. So the jokes, some of them are recycled. Slap them on the butt. I do that a lot. I can say that's happened a lot in my house. Yeah, you know what? I was kind of hoping he would have slapped Barbara Walters with his open hand during that interview. That was wild. Predator, Concrete Jungle, great. Oh yeah, yeah, because Chung-Li, like you got to hit Chung-Li if you're playing against a woman in a video game. So yeah, fighting games are going to be off. They're not so much allowed. Most fighting games probably aren't going to be allowed. I mean, there's maybe one woman in a fighting game that kind of feels like she deserves to be hit a little bit. So other than that, it's going to be something. If you're just tuning in, you heard that, you just tune right back out. So 13, it's so good they remade the game again. David Duchovny does his voice in this. Really cool. Freaky Flyers, some pretty cool cover art there. Flying racing game, good times. Battlestar Galactica, there is a couple Battlestar Galactica video games. This is probably the worst one. It's still decent though. It's good to play. Alter Echo, another video game I've had in my collection for a long time that I don't remember playing. So it could be good, I don't know. Wait, do I have another? Oh, there's another one. Let's see, Sega GT. Brute Force. This was like going to be like the third person Halo killer, and people thought that this was going to take over like Halo did, but in a third person environment. It did not. Spoilers. Dead Man's Hand, better than Red Dead Redemption, or the Red Dead game for the original Xbox. This one has a really cool card mechanic, and I believe you play as a Hispanic character, which is great. Brute Force was decent. There was some cool little features, like you could pick up different power ups and stuff that really made it stand apart from other games. Like some characters can just turn invisible and kill things, and that. But it was neat. Here's a vastly unique game, Circus Maximus. This is a chariot racing game. This is a must-have original Xbox game. It's unique to the original Xbox. Exclusive on the system. Ooh, sorry. Even if you kind of think that you might be interested in it, pick it up. It's dirt cheap. It's a lot of fun, and it might not be your jam to start with, but after a couple, minutes and maybe an hour of playing, you're gonna think that this is one of the coolest games on the system. Really cool. Another copy of Serious Sam because it was a System Link game and not so much for multiplayer. Like death battle style, but co-op. This was a great game to play co-op, so that's why I have more than one copy. Hitman Contracts, I don't think I even got around to playing. And then look at this. Movie gallery. I don't know if anyone had a movie gallery by them, but apparently I bought a game. Apparently it was Halo 2, but there's no game in here. Oh yeah, I have 8 Xboxes because I would have massive LAN parties for Halo and other games like that, to just sit down and play and have a ton of people over, eat tons of pizza, and just party all freaking night long playing Halo. And it was a great time. People that have been to the Halo parties will attest it's some of the best time they ever had in their entire life, because it was good. We even had girls at the Halo parties in the first apartment. So it was good. Well, I mean, I am not picky with my friends. I do have one friend who's my best friend person that's picky. But as far as people that I will be friends with to sit down and play video games, I am not picky at all. So I put myself out there. I'm like, hey, come over and play video games. Hey, come over and play video games. I had some those guys that dress up real nice that are religious and they come selling door-to-door stuff. They were two younger guys and they're like, hey, we're here to talk to you about Jesus and stuff. And I said, well, I'm busy getting some game stuff around. Why don't you come on down? And I bring them right down to the game room, and then we just sat and played video games for 3 hours and didn't talk about anything that they wanted to talk about and just kept on playing more video games. I am that type of person that says, hey, come on down, let's play video games. and it probably drives some people nuts, but it's a lot of fun. So I've had people of all backgrounds down playing video games. Second Sight, I don't think I ever played it either. It's a first, maybe third person shooter. I don't even know. I should get around to playing this one. It looks good. It really does. So check it out. Dr. Muto. This is a character from another game that I played on the Dreamcast. I can't remember what it is right now. But he would basically, your triggers would be a right hand and left hand, and you would combine items together and then make something new to fit whatever puzzle thing you're trying to do. And Dr. Muto was kind of cool for that, but I thought he was like my least favorite character in the video game that he was in. MDK, the MDK series, MDK 2. That's what he was from. Which the D was probably Dr. Muto. I don't know. Rainbow Six 3. I don't think I played it. I played through all of Rainbow Six 1 on the Dreamcast, which if you haven't played that, then you know that I was really kicking its butt. Yes, the original Xbox is region locked, which means playing Japanese games is tough, but can be done. Playing European games is impossible. So that's annoying. Rainbow Six Critical Hour, never played it. Sniper Elite, I think this is one of the more rare games for the system, and I think this is its own story, different. I mean, the name Sniper Elite has been out there for some time, but I think they're each different games. I'm not 100% sure. I don't think I played it long enough to find out, but I believe that they're different games. So there's like one on the Wii U and stuff, and I believe it's different. This is a one-on-one fighting game, like cartoony art style, Guilty Gear X2, kind of fun. Another copy of Serious Sam, because I think we did 4-player co-op. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, it says System Link. Yeah, I believe we were doing 4-player co-op with each person having their own TV when we were playing. Harry Potter, never even played it. Gauntlet Dark Legacy, decent. The graphics are kind of crap, but okay. Star Wars Battlefront, great time. A lot of people say that it's their favorite game for the system. So strongly recommend. Another copy of Halo 1. You could only system link 4 copies of Halo 1, though. The original Xbox, they upped it to 16, but the first game you could only do 4 system link. And I bought my 5th Xbox when Halo 2 came out because I wanted to break that standard. Kung Fu Chaos, a really cool. This is like a movie style cheesy action thing. And here's one that I haven't talked about yet, but I definitely will. Kind of a hidden gem of any system. I'm not sure whether I want to talk about it for the PlayStation 2 yet or for the Xbox. It did not come out in the GameCube. Shaolin Monks Mortal Kombat. This was a really cool game. This made up for Mythologies of Sub-Zero being so freaking awful, and that Jax video game that was terrible. Would have also liked to see a terrible Sonya game, but that never got made. Or Scorpion game. But this is great. This is great. Okay, I'm almost done with this, and then we might call it. Silent Scope. Yeah, well, it played the same on the PlayStation 2 and the original Xbox. But the only reason I thought about playing it on the PlayStation 2, I do think the controller fits the game a little bit better. Yeah, sometimes we just gotta play bad games. I understand that. I've beaten a lot of terrible games. Cybermorph coming to mind. Just because I felt like I had to, and I might have hated myself. Oh yeah, if anyone's played through every part of Checkered Flag, without knowing that you could just go 30 miles an hour and beat the entire game, going 30 miles an hour, like actually tried and beat it that way by trying your hardest, you have to hate yourself. Silent Scope, good. Okay, nice, nice. Okay, well, nice that you could join into the conversation. Kill Switch, great game. Some people might also know this as the game that inspired Gears of War, because this is exactly Gears of War before Gears of War, minus the chainsaw machine gun. And it is freaking awesome. It really is. It's one of the better games to the system. This game, I don't know. It's a first-person shooter. Never played it. Probably want to give it a try sometime. Mech Assault 2, Lone Wolf. If there's more than one of you, you're not exactly alone. Breakdown. Never played it yet. gonna do that eventually. Another copy of Halo 2. Gladius. I heard good things about it, but I could not get into it. I felt like there's something wrong. Knights of the Old Republic 2, because you know what? The first one was so good, you gotta come up with a sequel on this one. I think it also had some DLC. I don't know if this was free the last day or not. But a good game. I think it might have gotten remade, so you might be able to check it out. Here's one I really want to play, but I haven't really gotten around to it. And that was Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb. Now, it gets like a 9 out of 10 here, and I think you can play as a woman in some parts of this game. Yeah, I think, the Gladius game, I think, does start slow. I believe when I played it, I was playing the GameCube version, not the Xbox version. I don't think the Xbox version even entered any of my systems. I think I was playing it on the GameCube. See, it says 9 out of 10, Editor's Choice, OXM Magazine. But we know how the gaming journalists are. They sell their souls for reviews. Last two games here, and both of them I think are bangers here in this bundle of Xbox games. Return to Castle Wolfenstein. Now, my favorite Wolfenstein game is on the Atari Jaguar. Wolfenstein 3D on the Jaguar, I think, is the best version of Wolfenstein. I love it. It's more arcadey. This is a pretty cool game. And I think there's an unlockable here to play some of the Wolfenstein games in the game itself. So if you're a fan of the series, definitely pick this one up. I believe I bought it because of that unlockable, even though it doesn't say it anywhere on here. I think there was a code floating around the internet back in the day. And Manhunt, a game where you just kill a whole lot of stuff. Oh yeah. I have it on floppy disk too. IBM compatible, because it was like not really an IBM, but it worked for my IBM compatible stuff. Yeah, if it would have came out for the GameCube, I definitely would have picked it up for that console too, and I probably would have played through it. Now, there's also another Indiana Jones game on the Wii, and there's the same game not only on the Wii but on the PSP, and I believe the Indiana Jones on the PSP is like a better version of the Wii game, and not just because they removed waggle controls, but also because they have more cutscenes. They explain the story more, which before they cut that out on the Wii version, and also they screwed up the Wii version in ways that they should have never screwed up like any video game. So the PSP version actually fixes all of those stupid screw-ups, and they create a better game. So some point in time, I'm going to do my top 10 PSP games. Staff of the Kings on the Wii. It's great, but I never played it on the PSP. I think the PSP version is a lot better. Yeah. So if you really want to do that, my favorite game, Sega Saturn, Panzer Dragoon Saga. You know what? It was a good game on the Saturn. I don't think it was my favorite game. I think a lot of people, when there's a game that's worth a lot of money in your collection, you hold it at a higher value. So if you happen to own Panzer Dragoon Saga on the Sega Saturn, you're going to say it's your favorite game because it's like the most valuable game that you might have for that system. Now, I don't know if the same could be true for Popful Mail on the Sega CD. To me, that's my favorite game for the Sega CD because that's the game that made me fall in love with the Sega CD. Like, I put in that game and I finally got something out of a role playing game that I couldn't get out before, because I have a hard time reading, and it's had every single line of dialogue spoken to me, and the voice acting was spot on awesome. I literally fell in love with it immediately, and then that's why it's my favorite game and one of my favorite games of all times. Oh, Burning Rangers. Yeah, Burning Rangers is fun. I kind of like the firefighting theme. The Panzer, the Zwei Panzer Dragoon, the 2 for the Saturn, I thought was a much better experience. Now, I did play through, I think, the first time I played through all of Panzer Dragoon, the first one, was on Panzer Dragoon Orta. Oh, nice. Yeah, yeah. Oh, you know what? I didn't pick up any of those minis. Staff of the King for the Wii. Oh, okay. The Panzer Dragoon games, they're good. I mean, it's like a shoot 'em up, but you could spin the camera all around and shoot at different targets, and you also have a radar. So it was really good. Fate of Atlantis is great. That's another thing I thought about doing, is a video of all Indiana Jones games. And I know it starts off really bad. The Atari 2600 Indiana Jones game is really, really bad. Like, you need a walkthrough to even play the game. And you still don't understand what the hell you're doing. Now, yeah, well, it is, but it's also its own thing for Star Fox. You liked Raiders of the Lost Ark on the Atari 2600 or the movie? The movie was freaking fantastic. Fantastic. Top 10 movies of all times. It was the #1 grossing movie of 1981. So it was really good. Oh, yeah, I thought about doing top 10 movies, my top 10 movies, and kind of doing a quick video like that. Because I thought about, when I did Second Opinion Games, branching off and doing second opinion movies and also second opinion television. But for the television, at least, I want another person to do it. I don't want to do it myself. I want to, like, spin it off. Yeah, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Yeah, just like the movie. The video game's exactly like the movie, guys. Exactly. But on the 2600, you need 2 controllers to play it, because 1 controller wasn't enough with 1 button. It was. You know, as a kid, putting that game in and not realizing I needed 2 controllers with no instruction manual, it was unplayable, and I didn't know it, and it left a bad taste in my mouth. It was kind of bad for that. So I thought about doing my top 10 movies. Couple of hints on what could be on top 10 movies of all times. Raiders of the Lost Ark. That should be a no-brainer. The Road Warrior. I think it has the best ending of any movie, maybe ever. The ending was so sublime, and the chase. And I'm not just talking about the chase scene. I'm talking about the very end of the movie was really good. You know what? I don't know if there was a Robotron game that used 2 controllers. I know what Robotron. I know the Nintendo 64 had a Robotron game that you could plug into Nintendo 64 controllers and play that way, and that was really good. And there was something else. Maybe I was playing it on the Jaguar or something. Maybe the Robotron on that, or I don't know. I was playing something else that it had like a Robotron that I could plug in 2 controllers and play that way, and it was pretty cool. I mean, before nowadays with 2 analog sticks is kind of commonplace. No, it was the Vectrex. Someone made a Robotron on the Vectrex. Yeah, twin stick shooter on the Atari. Yeah, it would be crazy. But someone made a twin stick controller for the Vectrex, and then they made a version of Robotron on the Vectrex. You could find a video of it on the thing, and I got a chance to play it. And holy crap, was it ever freaking awesome! A huge fan of Vectrex. I should do one of these videos of the Vectrex and show you what I have for my Vectrex. I'm still trying to track down the 3D goggles and the pen to draw on the screen. But other than that, I feel like my collection's really good. I don't think I could disappoint. My biggest problem with my collection for the Vectrex is that it's spread out through the entire freaking house. tracking down all of my pieces is going to be very difficult, because when I was packing it up, I literally had Vectrex stuff everywhere. Huge fan of Vectrex. It's anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about now, it's a video game system that came out in 1982. Had a really cool screen, vector graphics, which means like perfectly straight lines. But they can do curved lines, but just a little bit of a curve. I think it curves to the left more than it can the right. It was kind of a weird thing. Black and white, but it had screen overlays. Really weird, really awesome. Great time. Oh no! See, well, I got mine. I got a good deal on mine because, well, for one, my best friend gave me it, so it was a good deal. But I did see one out in the wild later, and the one out in the wild was a no buzz Vectrex. See, later in the Vectrex's life, you turn it on and it doesn't make a super high pitched buzz noise that drives you effing crazy. And the guy won like $150 for it, and it was a steal. Oh man, passing up on a Vectrex, like I don't know if I could. Like even if I was in a store now and it was like $300, and just to have another Vectrex, I would probably just buy it. Like you just don't pass up on a Vectrex if you see one and you know it works. If they could plug it in, say, hey, this works, just buy it, just get it. Also because then you could buy multi-cards for the system. So if you buy a multi-card for the Vectrex, you're going to have a great time with it. I personally say it's worth $300. I freaking love the Vectrex. You could buy a little converter that lets you use a Genesis controller on the Vectrex. It will work for every game except for Hyper Chase, which needs the analog stick, which does get you a little bit more mileage out of your Vectrex. And you could even assign the buttons differently. Also, that means I could break out the Sega Genesis arcade stick and play on the Vectrex, which is what I use my Genesis arcade stick for. Sort of like its version of the Advantage controller from the Nintendo, or the Super Advantage controller. I'm drinking soda, so I got the burps here a bit too. But the Vectrex is probably one of the best systems. Well, the marketing, I don't know, it was just great. It had sprite scaling. Xbox at Goodwill for $26. Yeah, I would say pick up another Xbox. Well, see, the problem with some of the Xboxes too is they go bad. So that's a $26 gamble. You don't know if that thing works or not. But I think it's worth the risk at $26. And a lot of people didn't play theirs until they died, like I did. I had a lot of them fail, which is also one of the reasons why I had so many of them, because if one failed, I would send it back to Microsoft and buy another one in the meantime, and then I would get it back. And then I got used to having two for LAN parties, and then one would fail, and I would send it out, and then I'd buy another one, and it just sort of spiraled out of control from there. Yeah, yeah. And then what do you do with it after it doesn't play any discs? I guess you could sell it to a modder to mod the system and then play it that way. So that's something you could do. But hopefully you guys enjoyed a look at this big box of original Xbox games. I think this is roughly half the games for the system outside of sports games, which I didn't bother collecting for because sports games are wonky. Hopefully I could make you guys buy some Game Boy Micros too. Game Boy Micros are pretty unique. I was thinking about doing two separate top 10s for my Game Boy Advance games. One is top 10 Game Boy Advance games. I don't even know what happened to my Game Boy Advance now. Okay, well, I probably buried it. Top 10 Game Boy Advance games. I missed that last chat. Blue Game Gear from childhood. Recap it. Yeah, the Game Gears need recapped, but also the Turbo Expresses. They need recap too. If you bought a Turbo Express and it wasn't recapped, if you open that bad boy up, it's probably covered in bullcrap battery acid like substances all over the freaking motherboard by now. Even if it just sat there in a drawer, the Turbo Express is terrible for that. Say it was the Game Gear. Get them recapped. Take care of those systems. Take care of them well. So my idea for Game Boy Advance top 10s is top 10 Game Boy Advance games that like to play this. But then also the Micro has its own top 10 by itself, because some games I like playing more on the Micro than on the other system, and vice versa. So, and it's because of how the game is played. Like Final Fantasy 1 and 2 plays better, I think, on the Game Boy Micro. That being said, I did like a no death run of just for fun, like playing around the house, of Ghosts and Goblins, but the Game Boy Advance version, which is an insanely difficult game, and because I play the crap out of that game. It plays somewhat differently on the Game Boy Advance as it does the Game Boy SP. Oh, wait, let me get that. Well, I don't think it plays more games. I might have been misreading that. The DS is just a good way to play games. The reason why it seemed ahead of its time is because of how big of a jump it was from the previous version of the Game Boy. Like the Game Boy Color to this was a huge jump. I do think they would have been better having the Super Nintendo button layout and not just the A and B buttons together. They could have ported and done more sequels of Super Nintendo games, and they could have done that. But still, I'm very happy with the product. Oh yeah, it can't play Game Boy Color games, and it can't play original Game Boy games, and that's one of the reasons why I keep the Game Boy SP around, is because then I could still play those games. Matter of fact, that's the main reason I keep it around. See, there it is. Yeah, I keep this around pretty much for these games. Here's Dexterity. I don't even remember playing that, but it doesn't fit in there nice. It fits in there kind of dumb. I mean, if you want dumb, see, this type of thing looks stupid. Also, the problem with this is the Game Boy camera fits on the bottom when it was designed to fit on the top. Which means that I have to keep a Game Boy Color just for the Game Boy camera, not the original Game Boy, because that's like a wall hanging thing. The original Game Boy, there was so much blur effect and shadows that you kind of had to not play it, or get a Game Boy Light, which I would love to have in my collection. It's one of the things I don't have that I kind of wish I did. That was a Japanese only released super bright version of the Game Boy. I could mod yeah. Oh yeah. I definitely should think about modding one. Oh yeah, so here's a story with the Game Boy camera. I don't know if I told this story or not. And when I bought my Game Boy camera, there was this thing on television. It was on G4, where people were taking a picture of their junks with the Game Boy cameras and then returning them back to GameStop. And it was a little bit of a controversy. So I went out to my local GameStop, saw a Game Boy camera there. I grabbed it, put it in my system, and I bought it for it was $5. And there were 3 different pictures of male genitalia on the Game Boy camera. And I was like, oh my goodness. So I then immediately took a picture of my junk, and I was getting ready to return it. So it had 4 pictures. But I was like, no, I can't do that. So I kept it, and I think it still has 4 pictures of random people's penises on my Game Boy camera. I thought it was hilarious. So I love that a lot. So if you're in the wild, pick one up if it's cheap, just so you can check it out to see like what stupid things other people took pictures of. I mean, I'm not just saying like, hey, there might be some free penis pics out there. So you gotta buy it for that. It's worth it for that alone, right? But no, it's just it's hilarious just like when you buy a used video camera on eBay, you're gonna look up see what people have. I bought a PlayStation 3 online on eBay, and I get it, and it was filled with home movies of two enormous people doing it. It was quite gross. YouTube cursing Dr. Mario. Well, yeah. Yeah, I do a live stream of my Game Boy camera playing. Yeah, get demonetized and taken down pretty fast. Not that I care about the money and all. I rather care about making the content for you guys than any of the money I make, because I don't make money. There's no money doing this, none at all. This is literally all just for fun, a hobby, and a good time, and getting to know you guys out there and communicating back and forth. Just like this live stream is going to pick up like a handful of people watching, and that's it. And I've already been doing it for an hour and a half. So this is kind of a long one. I'm going to try and wrap it up here in the next 5 minutes. But any other questions out there while we're playing, or remembering good old times of playing original Xbox or Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games? Hopefully I can get that computer running up soon, where then I can do live streams with gameplay. I mean, if kids can get this set up, maybe I can too. Maybe. I was going to try and bring in a technical producer to help me out, get everything set up for my first live stream of gameplay. And then hopefully we can blow the doors off this and do some cool live streaming. And then I'll get all those super chat bucks that people like to throw around. Looking forward to Jaguars. Like, yeah. Thanks a lot, guys, for Ring Fit Adventures. Jim Morris's Bathtub. All you guys just that did so much. That have done so much for the channel and done so much for me, and reaching out to me, and I actually become like friends, and I feel like I have friends out there to talk to, because I don't have a lot of people to talk to. So thanks a lot for this. This opportunity was really great for me to even sit down and show off some of my collection. I don't like to do like those haul videos, because it feels like you're just showing off at that point. And I don't want this to be like that. This is more educational of what I think might be fun for people to collect for. And those haul videos, I feel like they give me some anxiety of like, oh, I missed that. It could be in California. I feel like I missed out on something. And I don't like that. So I don't like doing that type of thing. But I do like trying to educate about what good games are out there. And remember, even though like a magazine could say that this is a terrible video game, until you played it for yourself, you might not know that there's a hidden gem out there. And that's what I try to bring to light. So, but of course, that's just my opinion. Thanks for watching. Okay, bye everyone.